We're back, and you're listening to Executive Leaders Radio. This is your host, Herb Cohen, with my co-host, Kathy Alvarado, Helios HR, and Phil Haregi, Sabre Systems. I'd like to introduce to you Mike Dean. Mike is the CEO of an organization known as Professional Solutions. Mike, what is Professional Solutions?
Professional Solutions is a government contractor, services, that provides information management, operations, and training to our federal government.
And how large or how small is the company?
The company is, as of December 31st, 233 people. We closed the year doing $28 million.
All right. And how did you get a job with Professional Solutions?
I started the company in really the end of 2002, primarily because if I want to live with bad decisions, I was going to make them.
So tell us a little bit more about that, Mike. What does that mean exactly?
I grew up, I joined the Marine Corps in 1980 and retired from the Marine Corps in 2001. And I was so used to, I was an infantry officer in the special ops community at the end, and I was so used to running my own show and being responsible for the decisions I made that when I first left and retired, the people I was working for, I really didn't respect their decisions. And so, again, if I was going to have to live with a bad decision, I wanted to make it.
And so how does that philosophy, how do you leverage that in running your own organization today?
I give direction, guidance, and let them run.
So tell us a little bit more about how you decided to become a government contractor, in service to the federal government to begin with. What was it about, while you were in the Marines that made you want to continue supporting and working for the federal government?
I graduated college and entered the Marine Corps basically so I could spend another 4 years growing up. I didn't think I'd grown up in college enough. So I got married, joined the Marine Corps, and had a son. And that might have started to mature me, but I found that I took great pride in being part of something larger than myself. And so, and the Marine Corps is a institution that really drives that into you. And after spending 20 plus years in it, when I retired, I still had that passion for service, and one way to do it was to do it through service as a contractor or as a member of the government.
Is there a reason why you came out of active duty? Why not stay in active duty?
I retired. I retired right out of command in Camp Lejeune. And the primary reason I retired was I have a son. My youngest son is deaf. And he had traveled all over the world with us, and it's hard enough to educate hearing children and normal hearing children with you move every 2 years. I said it's time for me to give him the best education I could and got him into Gallaudet's system. And I said I'll retire, I'll come to D.C., get you in Gallaudet, and I'll give you 5 years to get through their school system. And that's why I retired.
And so what's your son doing today?
He is, my youngest son now works for my oldest son, who runs a company we started in an attempt to slow down our growth. I started a company I helped him start that company a little over a year ago because we were growing so fast we were going to bust out of the small business size standards, and I wanted to stretch that out. Well, it didn't work. We'll be a large business by January of this year. And that company, my older son runs, which focuses on intelligence services, is about 40 people. And my younger son works for him, supporting his IT and, jack of all trades stuff.
It's growing. You said you started in 2002?
Yeah,
business,
August.
And you're 30 million?
Yeah.
30 million?
We're running at a $36 million rate today.
Does that surprise you, or did you know that this is what was going to happen, in 2002, that we'd be here in 2010 and you'd be at the size that you are?
I was just talking about that with my Vistage chair the other day, and see, I helped you out there. And he can remember when I joined at $4 million. I said I'm going to be $50 million. Well, why? Well, I said because it's a nice round number. So now I want to be $100 million. It's kind of like I've always played sports, and the higher score wins, and And in this business, they keep track of scores with money. And so 100 million is better than 50, better than 20, and that's pretty much what it's all about. I used to say this, what if my company collapses? What am I going to do? Well, I'm retired already. I could take my retirement, go to North Carolina, and live on the beach. I don't say that anymore because there's 233 people counting on me. But that's kind of the attitude we take. It's fun. If it's not fun, don't do it. And you do that with customers. If a customer is not, a good customer to deal with, walk away. That's with partners and customers. Life's too short.
Now that's interesting, as in the military, you don't have necessarily the choices, that you have in the private sector. You don't necessarily choose who you take direction from, and on your command, the people under your command don't necessarily have a choice of whether to like something or not. So what's different about running a business in the private sector?
Well,
where there's free will. People actually get to express their free will.
That's right, and we encourage the expression of free will. I mean, dissent. Give us your dissenting opinion because you may have a better idea. Listen, and then listen harder. Listen harder to what they're saying. You're right, and the military guy, blind obedience, but it really wasn't. It really wasn't blind obedience. You always had the ability to dissent. Once, the decision was made, you carry out. If you didn't believe it, you walked away and resigned your commission. But, and in the company, one of the things is that the people that join our company are passionate, like I am, about service to the country, service to the government. And that's the type of people we recruit. So while they might not be standing on the yellow footprints in a line, in formation, and I can snap my finger and they'll move right or left, they still understand. And they understand our customers, and they understand the mission that our customers have, and they focus on making sure that is accomplished.
Mike, you mentioned that you have two sons that are
Correct.
working in another business that you've spun off.
Right.
Are there any other family members that are working in your...
My wife, she's the president of the company, and she also runs PS Charities. It's a charity organization. We actually turned it into a 501(c)(3) this year, but to manage our charitable work.
So you actually have another entity to do that. So
Right.
all of that doesn't go into your pocket?
No, charity, the money goes into
Right.
someone else's pocket.
But as CEO, you're actually giving back. You're doing something.
Yeah, in probably 2 years after the company got going, and we had an ability to give back financially rather than just with our sweat. We started regularly sponsoring events and doing things like so others may eat, and what we found ourselves doing is running, and I don't know why this, because I'm not an avid golfer. We run an annual golf tournament, and this is my plug for that. The tournament we're running, PS Charities is running this year, is on 21 May at Fort Belvoir, and it's for the TAPS program in honor of Major Doug Zembeck, who lost his life. See, this is where you could get me. Who lost his life about 3 years ago in combat in Fallujah.
Mike, what's the end game? What's the goal? Can you see it?
The end game is for me to be sitting on that beach and my older son running the combined companies, and it's just continuing to grow and grow. And he calls me back to give him advice that he probably won't listen to anyway.
But it's on the other hand, though, it sounds to me like every time you hit the goal, you raise the bar.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
I mean, I get the sense that you got a lot of conviction inside of you. Where's that come from?
The conviction, the drive, the passion.
What were you like as a kid? How young were you when you started making money? What was your first job?
I worked at what we call a Dairy Queen when I was probably 13 or 14.
And what was different about what you working there versus the other kids that were 13 and 14?
I don't know. How about that?
Were you working harder, doing things differently? Were you yelling at people? Were you
Telling everybody
organizing
what to
the
do?
team?
No,
making sure that things got done better?
Actually, if you
do it faster.
Actually, if you talk to some of my high school teachers before When I was going into ROTC, they in fact, I attempted to get in the Naval Academy, got a nomination, whatever. I just wasn't smart enough to get in. So, but if you talk to some of my teachers, some of the initial recommendations, they would not recommend me for military service, because I was so undisciplined. And I was undisciplined on one hand, but on the other hand, I always played team sports. My father was a coach and a teacher for 30 years. So maybe it was this drive just to create, do something.
Yeah, it was to create
something different.
Yeah, because as an entrepreneur, you're creating every day and providing the structure.
That's correct.
And it sounds to me like that's really where your guts are.
You know what? Interesting you said that. The last 3 jobs I had in the Marine Corps, I actually created organizations, got them up and running, and then walked away to go do another task.
So got the serial entrepreneur here.
Yeah, but in the military, that's all funny.
Well, here it's generation. You'll pass the entrepreneurial baton
to my son Michael. Yeah, and he uses my name on a bachelor because his name is Mike. My name is Mike. He'll show up at an ACG or he'll show up somewhere.
Hopefully you're not going to hurt his reputation.
Well, he can develop his own.
What's the website address for Professional Solutions?
www.ProSol1.com.
Let me have that one more time.
www.ProSol1.com.
Excellent. We've been speaking with Mr. Mike Dean, CEO of Professional Solutions here on Executive Leaders Radio with my co-host Kathy Alvarado, Helios HR, and Phil Reggie, Sabre Systems. This is Herb Cohen. Don't forget to visit our website, executiveleadersradio.com, to learn more about our executive leaders. And please stay tuned. We'll be back in a moment, right after this Business Spotlight.